We bought not one, not two, not three, but 13 Airbnb units at once. Stay tuned to find out how we did it. We are the Real Estate Robinsons.
Hey everyone, if this is your first time here, I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are real estate investors who quit our day jobs by investing in Airbnbs, and we're here to show you how you can do the same. Now, we've got big news, guys. We just bought a 13-unit motel outside of Zion National Park.
So freaking cool.
Now, buying a boutique hotel or motel has been a goal of ours for a while now,
Yeah.
so we're excited that it actually happened.
The property was originally built in the 1960s, and it's changed hands a few times since then. We bought it right at the new year and rehabbed it into a modern stay, but we did our best to keep all the charm of a traditional roadside motel, including this super cool retro sign.
And in this video, we'll walk you through why we bought it, how we found it, how we negotiated the deal, and how the rehab process went.
If you've been following the channel, you know that our specialty is Airbnbs. So why the heck did we decide to buy a motel?
Now, first we'll say we're not abandoning single-family Airbnbs, and we'll continue to buy more, but there are some major benefits to moving from single-family Airbnbs to commercial motels and hotels. So let's break them down.
Reason number one, control. Honestly, one of the biggest reasons we love commercial real estate is that you have more control over the value of the property. When you buy an Airbnb as a single family home, the value of that home is based on what's called comparable sales. So basically, you look at other homes with similar size, quality, and features that have recently sold in that same neighborhood, and whatever price those homes sold for is what your house is worth.
So when we buy an Airbnb, even if it does over $100,000 in revenue, the value of that home will always be tied to what other similar homes are selling for. But it's completely different when you buy commercial real estate. So with this motel and with all of commercial real estate, the value of the property is heavily influenced by the amount of revenue and the profits that a property generates. So as we increase revenue and keep expenses in check, we actually increase the value of the property. So let's go over this with a quick example. But first, let's give you a few quick definitions.
Yes.
So definition number one is net operating income, or NOI for short. This is your total revenue minus all operating expenses, excluding your mortgage payments. Definition number two is cap rate. This is basically an investor's estimate of the potential return on a property, and it's usually expressed as a percentage. You hear someone say like, hey, this deal's a 6 cap or a 10 cap. Now, your cap rates and your NOI come together to give you the value of your commercial property. So you get the value by dividing the net operating income by the local cap rate. So say a property generates $100,000 of NOI and the local cap rate is 6%. That property is worth $100,000 divided by 6%, or $1.67 million. Now, say you're able to increase the NOI from $100,000 to $200,000, still at a 6% cap rate. Now that property is worth $200,000 divided by 6, or $3.3 million. So we doubled the value of the property by simply increasing the profitability of it.
So if we took an Airbnb and doubled its revenue, the value is still going to be based on comparable sales. That's a big limitation. That's why you see so many big players in the commercial real estate space make ridiculous amounts of money. They buy commercial assets, increase the NOI, and then they tap into all of that equity, oftentimes tax-free through refinances, or they sell and 1031 into something even bigger.
The second reason we bought a motel is because we want to scale. We have a goal of growing our real estate portfolio to a value of $1 billion over the next decade.
Say that again.
1 billion with the B. And doing that through single family Airbnbs would be pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
So naturally we're forced to focus on bigger properties.
Now, we'll get into the number shortly, but this first motel won't make a big financial impact on that goal of getting to 1 billion, but it really does lay the foundation that it's our proof of concept.
And honestly, if we knock it out the park, it gives us a process we can repeat at a bigger scale.
Yeah. But before we keep moving, we'd really appreciate if you guys could give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications. Every new subscriber really does mean a lot to us. We have a goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you're enjoying this content, if it's helpful in any way, please subscribe and turn on those notifications.
We also have a totally free download for all of our subscribers. If you head over to therealestaterobinsons.com/calculator, we've got a free tool we put together that helps you analyze properties you're considering purchasing as an Airbnb. And guys, we've had, I think, like 100,000 people download this calculator, so go grab it. Now, last, we have an in-person Airbnb event coming up June 23rd through the 25th in Denver, Colorado. It's called the STR Summit. Now, if you're looking for an event where You're gonna have amazing guest speakers like Pace Morby, like Rob Built, like Mike Elefante, like Rich Summers, like Amanda Hahn and Matthew McFarland, who are extraordinary real estate CPAs. We have the VP of Data and Economics from Airbnb coming to speak. An amazing speaker lineup. Obviously, myself and Sarah will be speaking there as well, but you're going to learn so much. You're going to have
and our interior designer, Brianna.
And our interior designer, Brie, who we'll be talking about here in a bit. You'll also get an amazing opportunity to network with other real estate investors.
Which is literally the best part.
Our lives changed by expanding our network, and it starts with getting into rooms like this.
Right.
So guys, we have a special discount going on right now. So if you head over to strsummit.com, use promo code SPECIAL500. Now, guys, that promo code isn't going to last forever. No. So make sure you jump in quickly. By the time you get to the website, if you wait too long, that promo code could be gone. But SPECIAL500 gets you $500 off of a general admission ticket, and we hope to see you guys in June. All right, so now that you know why we wanted to buy a motel, let's talk about how we actually found the right property. Now, I'll tell you, finding a motel or hotel is a lot more involved than buying a regular Airbnb. Now, you can use sites like Crexi or LoopNet, which are basically like Zillow for commercial properties, but even still, it takes a lot longer to find the right property.
Here's the big difference between buying single-family Airbnbs and buying a motel. If you're focused on buying single-family homes, you can really focus in on just one or two cities, right? Because there's enough inventory for homes for sale.
But that's not the case with motels. I can't say I only want to focus on this one city because there are just way less motels in a city than there are single family homes. So when we decided to buy our first motel, we pretty much started looking everywhere all over the United States.
And since we had such a wide geographic range, we really tried to focus in on a specific type of our motel or hotel. So here's what we created as our buy box.
We're looking for boutique hotels or motels in the 10 to 30 unit range with a value add opportunity located in urban and vacation markets. Our ideal debt is seller financing or assumable loans, and our goal is to raise no more than $1.5 million from investors and provide a 10 to 12% cash on cash return and an IRR in the high teens. So once we had our buy box in place, it became a bit easier to kind of quickly disqualify the properties that didn't meet that buy box.
So through months of searching, talking to brokers all over the country, and submitting a bunch of offers, we finally found this motel in Utah, just outside of Zion National Park. And it's so cute.
And after confirming that deal fit our buy box, it was time to negotiate with the seller. So let's actually break down the numbers on this motel. So our purchase price was just under $1 million at $950,000. We were able to negotiate seller financing for the majority of the purchase price. So we put down $200,000 and the seller carried the remaining $750,000. Now we're paying them a 7% interest rate on a 10-year term.
We set our rehab budget for $320,000 and also included some working capital. So in all, the capital needed to close on this property was about $600,000.
Yeah, it's not bad, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's a single family home in some places, but in all, it took about 90 days to close. You know, the due diligence on a commercial property tends to be a little bit longer. We also ran into some issues the seller had to fix before closing, but about 90 days. Now, once we officially closed on the property, then the hard work really started.
The property had good bones, so luckily we didn't have anything to worry about regarding plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, or foundation work. But it definitely needed a refresh. So as soon as we went under contract, we hit up Brianna Michelle, our in-house designer, to help us create a vision for what this property should look like. We started off by creating a mood board. We looked at other motel designs and tried to find those that would appeal to the potential guests in that market. But we also really wanted to be different enough so that we stood out from the competition.
And working with Bree, we came up with a design concept that kind of perfectly blended the retro vibe of a roadside motel with kind of that modern touch that today's travelers are looking for. Now, once the design plan was set, it was time for the actual rehab. Now, like we said, our rehab budget was $320,000. This was by far the biggest rehab we'd ever done. Our biggest budget before was like just over 100K. So this is like 3 times bigger than anything else that we'd ever done before.
We really wanted to set ourselves up for success here, so we ended up hiring our rehab crew from California to complete this project. So every week they would drive the hundreds of miles from California to Utah and stay at the hotel for 5 days at a time.
Now, we had the extra cost of covering their transportation back and forth each week, but we felt the extra cost was worth the peace of mind of working with the crew that we already knew and trusted, right? Like most investors, we've been burned in the past by other contractors, and we didn't want to take that gamble on a project this big.
So that ended up being one of the best decisions we made, seriously. So in total, the rehab took only 13 freaking weeks from start to finish. Our team did an absolutely incredible job, and they really brought that place back to life. And it was just so cool to see the transformation from mood board to in real life.
Now, one of the biggest challenges we had with rehabs in the past was going over budget, right? But but with this rehab budget being so big at over 300K, we couldn't afford to go over budget here. So,
I was stressed.
Yeah, she was a little stressed.
I literally cried. Yeah.
She did cry one time. So we tried to make a few changes to make sure that we were on track here. So first, we created a super detailed scope of work for the rehab. And we also added an expense tracker sheet. So every expense we had was added to this Google sheet. And then weekly, we sit down to review all of our expenses and see how we were tracking against the budget. If we were under budget in one area and over budget in another area, we made whatever tweaks we needed so that the overall spend was still on budget.
And that was so helpful. Thank you so much, baby. Yeah. Second, we used a new feature from Relay, our business bank, to make sure all of our expenses were accounted for. So Relay recently rolled out a new receipt management feature right when we started this project, and that made it super, super easy for us to make sure all of our books were tight and in order.
So for every transaction, we were able to snap a quick receipt, upload it into Relay where it was tied to the actual transaction. So, no more collecting a bunch of receipts in random places. Right at the point of purchase, you snap the receipt and then never have to think about it again.
Yeah, I literally had to do hundreds of transactions for this project. So it was super, super easy or it could have been easy to start losing track of things, but the receipt capture kept me on track, kept our rehab crew on track, and kept us on budget.
Now, the other benefit of using Relay for this project was the ability to create virtual debit cards for each team members.
Yeah.
Now, the virtual debit cards are great because we were able to instantly create debit cards like as soon as we closed, and we could start ordering material immediately. One of the biggest delays for a rehab project is just material not showing up on time.
Yeah.
So if we would have had to wait like 7 to 10 business days for a physical card to arrive, it would have put us way behind track.
And the team member cards that we were able to create instantaneously were super helpful too. So I tried to bulk order most supplies online, but sometimes our team would have to run to the local hardware store last minute to pick things up. And each team member had a debit card with their own preset spending limit so they can move as quickly as possible to get whatever they needed in that moment instead of having for me to order and then wait for the delivery.
Now, these may sound like small things, but I promise you, having a dialed-in workflow for team member purchases and expense tracking was a big part of making this project run so smoothly.
Huge.
Now, we've recommended Relay to pretty much every real estate investor and business owner that we know, and it's because, honestly, they're just continuing to improve their product for small business owners like us. Not to mention, when you call Relay support, you actually get to talk to someone on the phone without hitting a bunch of different numbers on the dial tone
and yelling, "Speak to representative."
Yeah, and usually it's someone like on your continent, so there's like no language barrier.
Relay also offers same-day ACH payments, 0 monthly maintenance fees, integrations with your favorite bookkeeping software, and it's literally the only business bank that's built to support profit-first cash flow management. So if you want to sign up for a Relay business bank account, head over to the link in our description below and sign up.
Now, we had our grand opening for the Motel a little over a week ago, and we've still got a lot to learn about this new space, but we're excited to take you guys on this journey with us as our subscribers. And more importantly, we're excited to see something that we've dreamed about, like finally become a reality. It's been so cool to see that.
This was literally on your vision board, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
I'll never forget, at the beginning of the year, Tony's like a big vision board guy, and, locking in a motel was on there, so we did it!
And honestly, it was a bit surreal to like be at the grand opening and see like all of our families surrounding us. So it was just a really cool thing. So just a reminder to all of you that if you've got a dream, you got to work hard, you got to dream big, because when you do, the sky's the limit. Now, if we're able to hit our projections for this motel that we bought for $1 million, it should be worth about $2.5 million in the next 24 months or so. So we'll create $1.5 million in equity that we can actually tap into, which is pretty crazy.
Yes.
Now, guys, if you want to help us on that journey of getting to $1 billion in assets under management, and you want to buy cool properties just like this one, head over to robinsoncapital.co. That's CO like co. And you can learn more about how we're building amazing commercial hospitality stays just like this and how you can be a part of it. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, drop in the comments below. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
the Real Estate Robinsons.